Heal Your Inner Self: How to Guarantee Dramatic Improvements in the Results You Are Obtaining from Life, by Dr. Uche Akuba, LCE, Chairman, World Morning Star Association. Preface. I came in contact with the message of the Morning Star in 4-10 MSD, 1990 AD, and found it truly extraordinary. Since then, I have taught it to many, including to fellow prisoners during my years of incarceration in the federal prisons of the United States. A number of the students had earned the reward, so they understood and applied what they learned. As a result, they received the healing of their damaged inner selves and also began to experience dramatic improvements in the results they were obtaining from life. Free information given. The audio recording of the message of the Morning Star first became available in 4-04 MSD 1996 AD. It was distributed free of charge. In written form, the message was given free on the internet for more than 4 years, beginning in 9-00 MSD 2000 AD. Need for a book. In spite of those endeavors, vast millions are still unaware that the message has even arrived. Therefore, it became necessary to write Heal Your Inner Self in order to bring to a wider audience the message's unique and nurturing benefits. The benefits include the healing of your inner self, dramatic improvements in the results you are obtaining from life, and true stress relief. If you have earned the reward, you will also find in Chapter 1 how to A. Achieve success in life, B. Obtain complete happiness, and C. Receive total fulfillment. And after Chapter 6, you will perform the Book of Anger process, a unique procedure that's 100% guaranteed to heal any damaged inner self every single time. Yours will be no exception. Hear the message. But no matter how useful you may find this manual, it does not even begin to approach the exceptional value of the message of the Morning Star itself. You should therefore hear the message through studying the book titled The Message of the Morning Star by the same author. You should also listen every day to a different section of the message's audio recording. When you do, you will experience inner growth and receive the kind of successful, fulfilling, low-stress life about which others can only dream. There is nothing else like it, anywhere. A beautiful and rewarding surprise awaits all who follow these suggestions. Dr. Uche Akuba, LCE, Tuesday, July 4th, 9-06 MSD, 2006 AD, New York City. Introduction. The Impossible Guarantee. The message of the Morning Star, officially introduced at the WIMSA Life Improvement Lecture, absolutely guarantees dramatic improvements in the results anyone is obtaining from life. Anyone, every time. Why does the message insist on this seemingly impossible guarantee? Because one of the reasons the message is here is to deliver the extraordinary result it so boldly guarantees. But how can the message deliver such an impossible result? Simple. By revealing the natural law that controls the results you are obtaining from life. Understand and apply the rules of that natural law, and dramatic improvements follow automatically as night follows day, It is that precise. Just as a scientific demonstration of gravity will yield predictable results for those who understand and apply the rules of the natural law of gravity, you will experience dramatic improvements in the results you are obtaining from life when you understand and apply the rules of the natural law the message reveals. Because natural law never fails to deliver. A unique feature of all natural laws is that it makes no difference if you are a skeptic, and it matters not a whit whether you are religious or not. And if you are religious, it makes no difference whatsoever what your religion may be. All that matters in natural law is that you apply its unchanging rules. In Chapter 1, titled The Universal Reward Accounting System, and in Chapter 2, titled The Power of Forgiveness and the Role of Apology, this manual reveals the applicable natural law, presents its rules, and shows exactly how to apply them. In other words, this manual introduces you directly to what the message is here to do. First, heal your inner self. To experience dramatic improvements in the results you are obtaining from life, you need to first heal your damaged inner self. Once the healing is complete, you will also receive a multitude of other benefits promised by the message. Because when you deal with the message of the morning star, you deal only with absolute, unchangeable natural law. Therefore, for greater success the rest of your life, you need only to know, understand, and apply what this manual will now reveal. Chapter 1: The Universal Reward Accounting System. Natural law requires every person to answer for everything he or she does. As a result, the source of all things rewards you for your good deeds and punishes you for your evil deeds. In order for this never-changing requirement to be fulfilled with absolute fairness, your every deed and intent are observed, assessed, and recorded. Then they are judged and rewarded or punished. That takes high-volume processing. It needs complex information gathering and detailed accounting. Both tasks are fully and carefully performed by what is, in effect, the source's huge information gathering, analysis, and storage system. We now know it as the Universal Reward Accounting System. Since this accounting system was established by the source, it must necessarily function under natural law, which is, of course, unchangeable. That is why every person lives under the perpetual, automatic operation of the Universal Reward Accounting System. No one can be exempt. This information from report number 16, titled How the Source Rewards or Punishes You for Your Deeds, in the book From the Writing Desk of the Teacher, Volume 2, by the same author. It is essential to fully realize that nothing can exist outside the Universal Reward Accounting System. Nothing. Now, if you understand how the system works, this manual will show you how, and if you apply that understanding to your daily life, the result will be as if you are out walking on a cold, dark winter night, shivering as you walk. You turn a corner, and all of a sudden, you find yourself in the warm noonday comfort of a bright summer day. In real life, it's even better. Point value accounting needed. The source established the Universal Reward Accounting System to be absolutely fair and just in every possible way. To enable the system to meet and maintain that exceptionally demanding requirement, the source gave every deed and the intent behind the deed a value in points. That value, named point value, is a number. Its size depends on the type and significance of the deed or intent that earns it. Always. The point value of good deeds is named reward points. The point value of evil deeds is 2 demerit point values named negative reward points and punishment points. Deeds which are neither good nor evil are, as you might expect, named neutral deeds. And as you probably suspect, they have no point value. Example of a neutral deed: clipping your own nails. Point value is so critical, the teacher recommends you reread this section till you fully understand it. The 3 types of deeds and intents. You may have rightly seen from the previous section that there are only 3 possibilities with any deed or intent. A deed must be either 1, a good deed, 2, an evil deed, or 3, a neutral deed. Similarly, an intent must be either 1, a good intent, 2, an evil intent, or 3, a neutral intent. As you now know, good deeds earn reward points. Evil deeds earn negative reward points and punishment points, and neutral deeds are only noted. They earn no points in the universal reward accounting system. What's a good deed? A good deed is anything of value which you do for someone else. As examples, if you give $1 to a beggar, that is a good deed. If you explain a difficult lesson to a child, that is a more important good deed. The point value of a good deed is larger if the good deed is more important or more difficult to do. Note, since the intent behind any deed is monitored in the reward accounting system, a good intent can, in fact, be recorded as a good deed. The following example shows how. You plan to treat Andrew to lunch, and you confirm it on the phone just before you leave for his office. On arrival, you discover that he has a serious office emergency and cannot go. You will still receive reward points for treating Andrew to lunch, though you never did. Your genuine good intent is counted as a good deed done by you. What's an evil deed? An evil deed is the opposite of a good deed. The point value of an evil deed is larger if the evil deed is more serious. Notice that while good deed is always written with initial uppercase letters, evil deed is always written in lowercase letters. Example of evil deeds: stealing. Now consider this. If, without your employer's permission, you took home an office pencil for your personal use, you stole that pencil. Again, since the intent behind every deed is monitored in the universal reward accounting system, your evil intent can be counted and recorded as an evil deed done by you. The following example shows how. You are required to testify as a witness in a court trial. For reasons you consider important, you decide you will lie against the accused person in hopes of helping the accuser. The trial is canceled, so you don't testify or actually lie. What happens then? You will be punished for bearing false witness, a major evil deed, though you had only the intent. Your evil intent to lie is assessed and recorded as an evil deed done by you. The exact point value of a deed. The teacher says that the exact point value of any particular deed or intent is not known and may never be. You should, however, always remember that the universal reward accounting system is absolutely fair and just. You will therefore always receive the exact point value you earn, whether they are reward points or bonus reward points, negative reward points or punishment points. You will never receive less or more. What's a reward? A reward is every good thing you can see, feel, smell, hear, taste, or otherwise experience in your life. In the universal reward accounting system, each reward has a price in reward points, though the exact price of any particular reward is not known and may never be. Note this: the complete understanding of any previously hidden truth about life is known as clarity, or more fully, as clarity of understanding. And since clarity is something good, it follows that clarity is a reward in the reward accounting system. If you have earned clarity about rewards, you will receive great benefits from this chapter. If you do not have enough reward points for that reward, you will find a good reason to do nothing with the information presented here. You may even see no real value in this handbook. That's one reason all message books have a 100% money-back guarantee. Please reread this section. Be sure you fully understand what rewards are and what happens when you do not have enough reward points for them. Later on, you will see how to earn an abundance of reward points. What's a punishment? Any bad thing you can see, feel, smell, touch, hear, taste, or otherwise experience in your life can be a punishment. But not always. Some bad things are definitely not punishments. Some bad things happen to people in order to educate such people. Note that a punishment you have earned may also be the punishable evil deed of a person or persons who, in the exercise of their free will, chose to deliver that punishment to you. This means that if delivering a punishment is an evil deed, the person who delivers that punishment will be punished for delivering it. Pause here for a moment. Think about these facts. Absorb their full meaning. When does your reward or punishment begin? If you earn a reward or a punishment, exactly when does that reward or punishment actually begin? Is there a final day of judgment when you must appear in front of a supreme judge to answer for all your deeds, good or evil, before your rewards or punishments can begin? The answer may surprise you. Contrary to what some may have been led to believe, says the message of the Morning Star, your reward or punishment always begins in this life, not later. Now, not in a future existence. If your reward or punishment is not completed in this life, it continues in a future existence, but it always begins in this life. In those ringing words, the message reveals exactly when rewards or punishments begin. It means that the constant, minute-by-minute observation, assessment, and recording of all your deeds and intents, as well as their judging, all take place in this life, not later. Your punishments or rewards then follow, also in this life. So everything you decide to do or actually do is observed, assessed, recorded, and judged. You can repent of them if you like, but you cannot change or cancel them. They were all instantly analyzed and judged with no chance of appeal. Notice, too, that if your reward or punishment is not completed in this life, that reward or punishment continues in your future existence. In other words, death does not end at all. Death is simply a normal and expected return to the other side of immortality. And on the other side, the universal reward accounting system is as unavoidable as it is on this side. Creation of the reward accounting system and of immortal spirits. In How the Source Rewards or Punishes You for Your Deeds, report number 16 in the book titled From the Writing Desk of the Teacher, Volume 2, by the same author, the teacher states that 15 billion years ago, the Source created from its own energy, A, the reward accounting system, and B, immortal beings known as spirits. The Source puts a spirit in each creature and stays in touch with each creature through that creature's own spirit. There is, therefore, a spirit in every creature to enable each creature to stay in touch with the Source. Therefore, the Source is in constant touch with you through your own human spirit. Important note: the message refers to the Source as it with a capital I, because the message says the Source of all things is neither a he nor a she. For that reason, this manual refers to the Source, the Creator, and nature as it. What's the great work of the ages? Many do not yet know about the great work of the ages. It is the ages-old endeavor to make planet Earth a perfect place through the willing leadership of its dominant species. The message of the Morning Star says that 200 million years ago, the Source concluded that dinosaurs, who were the dominant species at the time, had failed as leaders of the great work of the ages, partly because of their very violent ways. So the Source chose to make humankind dominant, and via that choice, the new leader of the great assignment. If we humans fail, we too will become extinct, and another species will be given the opportunity to try. Perhaps termites, already well organized, may be upgraded in size and in other necessary ways and assigned the leadership task. The teacher says the message is here to help humankind succeed. Age and immortality of human spirits. Based on the date each spirit was created, the apparent age of spirits vary. But since every spirit is, as you already know, created from the one energy of the Source itself, each spirit, whether human or not, is indeed as old as the Source. The Source creates spirits as needed, and once created, spirits cannot die. Therefore, all spirits, such as tree spirits, animal spirits, rock spirits, and human spirits, are immortal. What's the future of your immortal human spirit? What lies ahead for your human spirit? What eventually happens to your spirit since it cannot die? The answer may surprise you. When a spirit completes its tasks and its earned punishments, and provided it has enough reward points in its account, it becomes deeply and completely fulfilled, a state we humans can only imagine. It then voluntarily and joyfully returns to and is welcomed by the Source from where it came. Every spirit has a reward account. Whenever the Source creates a spirit, the Source also creates a reward account for that spirit. Therefore, every spirit has a reward account in the universal reward accounting system. You have a reward account. It belongs to your human spirit. Every person has a reward account in the universal reward accounting system. Your personal reward account is the personal reward account of the human spirit that is now alive as you, the spirit that is keeping your present human body alive. So, at the end of your present life as a person on earth, your reward account stays with your immortal spirit for whom it was first created. Every creature has absolute free will. The Source of all things chose to give an absolute free will to each and everything created. Since that free will is absolute, every creature may do whatever it chooses. The only limit to free will is the way the creature's body is built. For example, an elephant may choose to fly with eagles, but since it was built without wings, it cannot fly. The restrictions imposed by its body structure limit its otherwise absolute free will. Free will comes with obligations. There are unavoidable obligations for any creature when it chooses to do or not do a deed. In other words, the exercise of any creature's free will has consequences which that creature cannot escape. Pause and think about your life. Who keeps your reward account? The immortal spirits of the best of your departed ancestors are assigned to observe, assess, and judge your every deed and intent while you are awake. They record the data in your reward account while you sleep. The task of observing, assessing, recording, and judging of your every deed and intent is known as tracking. Ancestors see a tracking assignment as an important reward and are very happy to receive it. For ancestors, tracking is a pleasant, easy task. Plus, it gives them the opportunity to earn reward points. Your assigned ancestors are always with you, 24 hours a day, monitoring your every intent and your every deed round the clock. They cheerfully and faithfully perform their tracking duties without ever a break, so you cannot keep any secrets from them. The same ancestors who process and record your deeds and intents and arrange your rewards and punishments also ensure that your rewards and punishments are fair and just. They keep every reward and every punishment always in proportion. Always. Note again that since tracking goes on every second of every day with never a break, it is absolutely impossible to hide anything you do, even the deeds you do in complete privacy, certain that you are all alone. You are never alone. As the message says, if you know it, your ancestors know it. Who assigns the ancestors that track your deeds and intents? The message tells us that it is angels who assign the very best of your ancestors to tracking duties. The ancestors so assigned stay with that pleasant duty until they earn a promotion to a higher position. The message also tells us that most angels were once ancestors who, because they were completely fair and just in their work as ancestors, earned the top promotion to angel. And so they were promoted. Angels are also known as deities and as aggregated spirits of ancestors. The ancestors that angels select for tracking duties are the immortal spirits of your own ancestors who, during their last lifetime as human beings, had performed exceptionally well in the reward accounting system. They had done so well that at the end of that lifetime, the reward points in their reward accounts had earned them the major reward. The major reward is a promotion to ancestor, and on the other side, they were so promoted and given the highly desirable assignment of tracking. Ancestors who have been rewarded with tracking duties are also known as Holy Ghosts and Holy Spirits. Every new baby's tracking begins when that baby is old enough. As soon as an infant is old enough to know the difference between good and evil, the tracking of its every deed and intent begins. It is at that exact moment that its ancestors begin to observe, assess, and record its every deed and intent. Therefore, your ancestors have been tracking your every deed and intent since you were perhaps 18 months. If your life is fulfilling and happy, can you now begin to see why? Your ancestors tracked everything. If, on the other hand, your life is sad, stressful, miserable, and unhappy, can you also begin to see what the cause might be? They really tracked everything. Ancestors and angels want to be perfectly fair and just. Every ancestor is as perfectly fair and just as he or she can possibly be. This is because every ancestor understands the reward accounting system, and since every ancestor is a spirit, he or she has a reward account and so chooses to do only what is right. The same is true of angels. Every angel fully understands the universal reward accounting system, of course, and has his or her own reward account too. Therefore, since angels also desire rewards, they choose to do good deeds at all times. Angels and ancestors are as close to being perfectly fair and just as any spirit can possibly be. Who maintains the reward accounts of ancestors and angels? An interesting question is, who maintains the reward accounts of ancestors and angels in the universal reward accounting system? Who tracks their deeds and intents? The message reveals that angels maintain the reward accounts of ancestors, and the source maintains the reward accounts of angels. Wisdom from the message of the morning star. One of the most significant rewards from the message of the morning star is this wisdom. If you want to improve the results you are obtaining from life, do more good deeds and no evil deeds. Important as this is, it is quite simple and quite old. How many times have you heard that what goes around comes around? Or that as you sow, so shall you reap? Such is the simplicity of great wisdom. Does any and every creature really have a reward account? As the message reveals, every creature has an immortal spirit, separate from its physical body. This means that trees, rivers, rocks, cars, grass, even superheated gases speeding in a particle accelerator, being creatures, all have immortal spirits. So everything, human-made or not, has an immortal living spirit. Since every creature has an immortal spirit, it follows that it has free will, and so its own individual reward account. Consequently, cities, clubs, schools, business organizations, and nations, for example, all have their own free will and their own reward accounts in the universal reward accounting system, just as do the individuals whose lives they touch. The system is so totally capable it tracks any and everything, including creatures created by yet other creatures, ad infinitum. Shared group deeds, group rewards, and group punishments. When a country or nation does good deeds, it earns reward points. And when it does evil deeds, it earns negative reward points and punishment points, just as a person does. Good deeds done by a group, such as a country, are group good deeds. Evil deeds done by a group are group evil deeds. Countries therefore earn group rewards and group punishments. When a country, for example, is enjoying group rewards for its group good deeds, or is under group punishment for its group evil deeds, the country shares the rewards or punishments with its individual nationals. The sharing is in exact proportion to each national's contribution to the group deed that earned the country's group reward or group punishment. Pause. Think about your country. Conditions for receiving rewards. Before you can receive a reward, that reward must fulfill two conditions. 1, you must have the reward points, and 2, the reward must pass the fairness and justice test. 1, you must have the reward points. Every reward costs so many reward points in the universal reward accounting system. Therefore, if you want a particular reward, you must buy it with the reward points already present in your reward account. You cannot borrow a reward or buy it on credit. As a result, if you do not have the reward points sitting in your reward account, no amount of wishing, affirmations, chanting, visualizations, or prayer can bring even a tiny reward to you. This is why so many affirmations, chanting, visualizations, and prayers usually get a no answer. Pause and think about that. Consider this. Overall good health is a reward. If you do not have the reward points for the reward of good health, the best health professionals will not be able to help you. If you have earned the reward of overall good health, you will have good health. You may, however, still have, say, weak eyesight. The weak eyesight has not really diminished your reward of overall good health, but it is something bad sent to you either as a punishment or for your education. A Morning Star practitioner can tell you exactly which one it is. See the profession Morning Star practitioner on page 96. 2. The fairness and justice test. The rewards you seek must be fair and just, or you will never be able to receive them. As a result of what you now know about rewards, you should understand quite clearly that A. You cannot receive a reward by promising to provide the reward points later. Credit is not available. It is cash and carry. B. Unfair or unjust rewards are not obtainable at any price. No number of reward points will enable you to receive a reward if that reward is unfair or unjust. Why the source established the universal reward accounting system. Do you sometimes wonder why the source established the universal reward accounting system? The purpose is to encourage every creature on planet Earth to do large numbers of good deeds and no evil deeds. If they do, the planet will become a perfect place within 24 hours. Planet Earth will reach perfection only if its inhabitants, led by the dominant species, willingly do what is right. If the dominant species fails as leader, that dominant species is downgraded or made extinct, and another is created or upgraded to take its place. Dinosaurs were the dominant species. They failed and so became extinct. Humans, now dominant, get to try. Another reason the source created the system is to answer the persistent ages-old question by individuals. Why should I do the great work of the ages? A perfect planet Earth is great, but it's unlikely to happen in my lifetime. So what's in the great work of the ages for me now? Why should I bother? The twofold purpose of the universal reward accounting system is the reason the point value of every evil deed is 2 demerits. First, as you already know, an evil deed earns negative reward points which cancel reward points of equal value from your reward account. And second, as you also know, the same evil deed also earns punishment points. Punishment points guarantee a definite and separate punishment for each evil deed you do. You can save up your reward points. You may be pleasantly surprised to know that you can save up your reward points as if they were money and spend them later. If you are seeking several rewards with different prices in reward points, you can save up your reward points until you have enough to buy any particular reward you want, even if that reward costs more than any other on your list. Procedure for saving up and using your saved reward points. You probably suspect that saving up your reward points will make it possible to receive rewards in the order in which you want them. It does. The ability to choose the order of rewards is in itself a valuable reward. Now, how can you avoid squandering your reward points on cheaper rewards when the big, high-priced reward is the one you want first? You can do so by taking these 2 steps. 1. Make a reward list of all the rewards you happen to be seeking at this time. You may write your list, but know that a reward list does not have to be in writing. A written list will, however, make it easier for you to view the rewards on your list at any given time. 2. Arrange the rewards on your reward list in the order in which you want to receive them. You can change the order at any time. Each time you make a new list or change an old one, your assigned ancestors promptly accept and record it in your reward account. But note this: your assigned ancestors accept and record your list only if your reward account has reward points in it. If all you have in your reward account are negative reward points and punishment points, your account is in negative balance. If your reward account is in negative balance, your ancestors will automatically reject and ignore your reward list until your reward account returns to positive balance. Your reward account will return to positive balance only after you have done enough good deeds and no evil deeds to wipe out the deficit. Always remember that. If you build a reward list as described here, your reward points will be spent on rewards only in the order in which you want them. If you do not build a reward list, your reward points will be used up in a haphazard manner. You may therefore never receive your big rewards because your few reward points will be squandered on cheap, frivolous rewards. Not building a reward list is the same as if instead of saving up your money to pay your college tuition, you are squandering your money on candy and cigarettes. You can give reward points as gifts. Note this surprising fact: you can give your reward points to someone else as a gift. Of course, giving your reward points away is a good deed. You cannot, however, lend reward points or borrow them, but you can give them away. Angels can lend reward points and can also take them back. Humans and ancestors cannot. How does the giving away of reward points work? The 6 points below show how. 1. The person to whom you want to give the reward points must have earned the reward of receiving transferred reward points. If not, your reward points will come back to you, always with a bonus. If they come back, they will come back with a bonus because your genuine attempt to give your reward points away is rewarded in the reward accounting system as a good deed done by you. 2. You make a conscious, free will gift of, say, 20% of the reward points required to regain good health after, say, a surgical operation. Once you have given your reward points to someone who can accept them, they are forever gone from your account. You cannot take them back if you change your mind. So as soon as the reward points you are giving away are accepted, they are gone forever. 3. You can give reward points away by A. Making a strong, good wish in someone else's favor, B. Making a definite wish to give reward points, or C. Chanting a mantra or praying for someone else to receive a reward. This third method of giving reward points away is one of the very few times when mantra chanting or prayer has genuine value. The message itself reveals the power of prayer. See page 107. 4. The best way to give reward points is by making a deliberate wish to do so, because you can then also choose what percentage of the needed reward points you are giving away. If you do not choose the exact percentage, you may find that you have given most of your reward points to a qualified but very needy person. 5. You can give away your reward points only if you have any. And of course, you cannot give more than you have. And finally, 6. The reward points you give away may come from the reward points you have been saving for a reward you really need. Therefore, when you offer to give your reward points away, you should first understand the full meaning of what you are doing. Who or what are guardian angels? Do you sometimes speak of your guardian angels? And do you think of them as kindly spirits who would protect you from injury and, if necessary, give you an edge over your colleagues, friends, family, and neighbors? Do you now realize that you are, in other words, expecting your guardian angels to protect you from the harm you have caused yourself by doing evil deeds? Such protection is not possible because spirits who can protect a creature from the universal reward accounting system cannot exist. Your ancestors cannot be your guardian angels because ancestors will not be partial, and they cannot break natural law. So know now that guardian angels do not exist. How to best utilize your knowledge of the reward accounting system. In order to put what you now know about the universal reward accounting system to the best possible use in your life, you should immediately make 4 specific changes. 1. Draw up a number 1 reward list. Make a reward list of all the rewards you want. The rewards can be in any order, but the list should be as complete as you can make it. Include both big and small rewards. 2. Make a number 2 reward list. You will now arrange the rewards on your number 1 list in the order in which you want to receive them. Place the first reward you want to receive at the top of this list, then the second, etc. This is your number 2 list. If you change your mind about the order in which you want your rewards, simply go back to this list and make the necessary changes. 3. Do good deeds. Begin to do good deeds in every situation in which you find yourself. Do not be choosy or stingy with doing good deeds, because every good deed you do brings proportionate reward points to only yourself. The person who benefits most from your own good deeds is always you. A great many people fail here because they are reluctant or unwilling to do good deeds. Be strongly reminded now that every good deed you do for someone else, you are actually doing for yourself, because the reward points for every good deed you do will always go into your own reward account. The reward points will go into your reward account even if the person to whom you did your good deed does not thank you or is not even aware that it was you who did the good deed. Remember that your assigned ancestors are always with you, and they observe, assess, record, and reward every good deed and punish every evil deed. As you already know, the most important good deeds naturally earn the largest reward points. Among the most important are A. Dismantling and discarding your book of anger. It is the most important good deed you can do. This manual will show you how. It is also the only deed you do for yourself that counts as a good deed in the universal reward accounting system. B. Honoring your parents and elders. And C. Becoming a Morning Star volunteer. Are you wondering what else to do that would be good deeds in the reward accounting system and so earn you reward points? WIMSA has a list of over 70 good deed ideas. They are in Good Deeds list of 73 suggestions. The message advises that you do at least 8 good deeds every day. If you are seeking big rewards, 8 good deeds a day will not be nearly enough. You must do many more. After all, you are really doing all your good deeds for yourself, and the reward points they earn are yours to spend on the rewards you want. Know also that good deeds are very powerful indeed. There are well-known business people who do a great many evil deeds, but they are wise enough to also do large numbers of good deeds. Some of them refer to their good deeds as a giving back. That is why, in spite of their excessive nastiness, they are able to keep great rewards flowing into their lives. A famous example of business people who do a large number of good deeds is Mr. John D. Rockefeller. He once said, "Make all the money you can, keep all the money you can, and give away all the money you can." Here was a known, hard-as-nails businessman who recognized the awesome power of good deeds and put that power to his own personal use. 4. Stop doing evil deeds altogether. Evil deeds cost you valuable reward points and bring you guaranteed punishments every single time. Therefore, stop doing evil deeds altogether. They are simply too expensive. The table on the next page is a list of 20 common evil deeds you should do your best to avoid altogether. Do not do any of them even when the temptation is strong. List taken from Message of the Morning Star, Part 1 in the book, The Message of the Morning Star, by the same author. Brief information on the book appears on page 107. 1. Being unfair and unjust. 2. Taking what is not yours, that is, stealing or robbery. 3. Killing people intentionally, that is, murder. 4. Assuming the worst in others. 5. Breaching the privacy of others. 6. Acid tongue. 7. Being the first to start any violence. 8. Intentionally destroying property. 9. Spreading false rumors. 10. Spreading news to cause or increase racial hatred. 11. Refusing to nurture your child. 12. Wishing other people ill. 13. Damaging the environment. 14. Failing to honor your father and your mother. 15. Oppressing people. 16. Ruling other nations. 17. Gossiping. 18. Cruelty. 19. Bearing false witness. 20. Telling any lies. What the system does when you reach out to do a good deed. In the Universal Reward Accounting System, 1. Every good deed you do is a reward earned by the recipient of your good deed. 2. A person can receive a particular reward only if his or her reward account already has the reward points for that reward. 3. You can give your reward points away intentionally, and you can give them away unintentionally when you don't mean to give them away. Because of those 3 unchangeable rules, a serious question arises. When you reach out to do a good deed, are you, without actually meaning to do so, also giving your reward points to the intended recipient of your good deed if he or she does not already have enough reward points for the reward? The paragraphs numbered 1 through 3 below provide the answer to this crucial question. 1. When you reach out to do a good deed, you are doing only the good deed you intend to do. You do not, without meaning to do so, give your reward points to the recipient of your intended good deed simply because he or she needs more reward points to cover the reward. 2. If the intended recipient does not have enough reward points already in his or her reward account to cover the reward, he or she will not receive the reward. This means that the good deed you intend to do will not be completed. 3. Since your intent to do the good deed is genuine, you will receive proportionate reward points for the attempt. Your reward points in such a case will not be as large as they would have been had your good deed been completed. The following 3 examples will further clarify the 3-part answer above. Let us say that someone you know is on a visit to your city. You decide to do a good deed by cooking her favorite meal at your home and taking it to her at her hotel. 3 possible situations can arise. Situation A. You call her hotel to give her the good news about your intended good deed, only to be told that she had just checked out. What happens then? You will receive reward points for your genuine intent. Situation B. You call her hotel and tell her about your plan to cook and bring her favorite meal to her. She's somewhat surprised but very happy. She's looking forward to the meal. You go grocery shopping and cook the meal. Before you leave your home for her hotel, you decide to bring ice cream for dessert, so you call to see if she prefers the vanilla to the chocolate flavor. You are told that she had suddenly checked out after a phone call from her office. In this situation, though you never delivered the meal, you will receive proportionate reward points for the incomplete good deed. Your reward points here will be more than the points in situation A, because in this case, situation B, you completed more parts of the intended good deed. Situation C. You call her hotel and give her the good news about your intended good deed. She's very happy. She's looking forward to the meal you promise. You go grocery shopping and cook the meal. Before you leave your home for her hotel, you decide to buy ice cream for dessert, so you call to see if she prefers the vanilla to the chocolate flavor. She prefers the vanilla. Therefore, you buy 2 large cups of the most delicious vanilla ice cream. At the hotel, she enjoys the meal and is very thankful. What happens in this 3rd situation? You will receive reward points for the completed good deed. The reward points will be more than the reward points in either of the 2 previous situations, because in situation C, your intended good deed is now a completed good deed. What do these 3 examples mean? They mean that in situations A and B, your intended recipient did not have the necessary reward points in her reward account. In situation C, she did. You can therefore draw 3 valid conclusions. 1. You do not automatically give your reward points to the intended recipient of your good deed unless you deliberately choose to do so. 2. Each time you genuinely reach out to do a good deed, you earn reward points just for reaching out. 3. Your reward points are larger if your good deed is completed. Now note this. When you wish or pray for a person to receive a reward, you give your reward points to that person automatically, but only if the reward will not be your own personal good deed. Your reward points will go to the person even if you have not actually chosen to give them away. This happens because in such cases, your genuine wish or prayer is interpreted in the Universal Reward Accounting System as a decision to give the required reward points. An example is when you wish or pray for a sick person to receive good health. See also the segment subtitled, You Can Give Reward Points as Gifts. Can you help ensure that your good deed is completed? To earn more reward points, you need all your intended good deeds completed. Is there something you can do to actually help ensure a completion? Can you help your recipient to definitely receive your good deed? Yes. Your ability to do something to help get a completion is based on the following facts. 1. No one knows the exact status of any reward account. And 2. Good deeds always earn reward points. 3. Your recipient must have the required reward points already in his or her reward account before the good deed you intend to do can be completed. Therefore, to help ensure that your good deed is completed, simply help your recipient to hold enough reward points in her reward account. Because if she has the required reward points already in place, the good deed will definitely be completed. The only way to ensure she has enough is to add more. The only way to ensure your recipient adds more reward points to her reward account without your giving her your own reward points is to introduce her to the universal reward accounting system. However, what she does with that introduction depends on the status of, you guessed it, her reward account. Clarity in this case is recognizing that relief will follow when one utilizes the reward accounting system. If she has not earned this one clarity, she will ignore the introduction and continue to earn and take more punishments. Always remember that. This is why some people will not welcome and utilize the reward accounting system when you introduce it to them. Of course, the introduction itself is an important good deed and so will earn you large reward points. Rewards will flow, but how soon? If you do enough good deeds and no evil deeds, beautiful rewards will flow into your new, lower stress, more fulfilling life. But how soon will the flow of rewards begin? That depends on A. The present status of your reward account. B. The total point value of the good deeds you now do. C. The total point value of the evil deeds you continue to do. D. The price of the rewards you seek. And E. The order in which you want your rewards. But even if you do not see an immediate flow of rewards, continue to do large numbers of good deeds anyway. You can never lose. The reward accounting system is always fair and just, and will always treat you exactly right. Testing the validity of the message. When you test the power and validity of the message of the Morning Star in your own life, as the message itself invites you to do, your reward account is automatically suspended while you conduct the test. You will therefore be able to see results that because of the poor or negative balance status of your reward account, you could not otherwise see. Once you complete the test, your reward account becomes automatically active again. This rare suspension of the reward accounting system is only apparent, not real. It is not proof that the Creator may break its own natural law to support a claim. The Creator never breaks or changes any natural law for anybody or anything. That has never happened and never will. What happens during your test of the power and validity of the message is that the angel Thoth lends any necessary reward points to your reward account. And once you have performed the test as required, he takes his reward points back. Angel Thoth is able to do this because, unlike humans and ancestors, angels have the ability, granted by the source, to lend and take back their reward points. Angel Thoth is happy and eager to lend his reward points for this purpose because, as the teacher tells us, Angel Thoth is the message of the Morning Star. End of Chapter 1. Chapter 2. The Power of Forgiveness and the Role of Apology. Apology and forgiveness, two of the most important items in human relationships, are, according to the message of the Morning Star, governed by the inflexible law of personal responsibility. The law of personal responsibility is a natural law, just as the law of gravity is, and, like all natural laws, it is absolutely unchangeable. The message says, it is not necessary to be aware of or to believe in the existence of Holy Ghosts, Holy Spirits, or ancestors, which can be the same, or even in a creator, for the law of personal responsibility to rule your life. Can a baby who crawls over the ledge of the roof of a skyscraper escape the natural law of gravity if that baby is unaware of and probably does not believe in the law of gravity? Of course not. In the same way, you cannot escape the natural law of personal responsibility, no matter what your beliefs may be. Forgiveness. Yet, though we know you are answerable for your every deed under the first law, people still ask and pray for the forgiveness of their evil deeds, which you now know are governed by unchangeable natural law. We have all seen truly repentant men and women shed sorrowful tears as they pray very hard to the Creator, asking that their many evil deeds be forgiven. Are their evil deeds then forgiven? The answer is yes. Their evil deeds are 100% forgiven, but only on one condition. The one condition on which the Creator forgives evil deeds. The Creator forgives every evil deed on one condition, and one condition alone. The message reveals what that one condition is. Before we view the one condition that unfailingly brings the Creator's forgiveness, we shall first see exactly what the message says about forgiveness itself. In part 1, the message says, if by forgiveness you mean a situation in which you escape punishment for the evil deeds you have done, your prayers for forgiveness are in vain, because the Creator is consistent and so will not break the Creator's own natural laws. Anyone who claims he or she can help to secure your forgiveness from the Creator wastes his or her time and yours. The source laid down the law of personal responsibility to be fair, just, and consistent. Therefore, the law must operate blindly, without forgiveness. Do not waste your time by asking the Creator for forgiveness in hopes of avoiding punishment for your evil deeds. To forgive you, the Creator must also forgive everyone else. And that is absolutely impossible, because natural laws, by their very nature, cannot be forgiven. Natural laws cannot in any way be modified or canceled. They are automatic, eternal, and unchangeable, just like the physical natural law of gravity. Will you be so naive as to ask the Creator to forgive you gravity and then step out of the window of your 10th floor office to walk on air? If you do good deeds, you must be rewarded. If you do evil deeds, you must be punished. And that is that. That is fair and just, and that is consistent. That is the way it is. That is the way it has always been, and that is the way it will always be. You must suffer full and proportionate punishment for every evil deed you do. That is what the message says in part 1 about forgiveness. It is impossible to avoid punishment for an evil deed. And since your spirit is immortal, the message adds, if your evil deeds are bad enough, you may have to pay with thousands of years of personal suffering. With such a long period of unavoidable punishment being entirely possible, you now know that punishment can continue after death, as well as in any future lives the evildoer may ever have. Even death does not bring relief. Is the Creator merciful? As humans, we somehow know deep down that the Creator must be merciful. We have this natural knowledge that the Creator is merciful. But if the Creator will not allow anyone to escape even one small punishment, there would seem to be a problem with the Creator's mercy. Is humankind's deep down knowledge of the Creator's mercy so totally wrong after all? This is how the message frames the question. If the Creator will permit no evil deed to go unpunished, is the Creator still merciful? Can the Creator still be considered merciful if it will not allow you to escape punishment for your evil deeds? The message also provides the only answer. The answer is yes. The Creator is merciful, and its mercy is absolutely perfect. Here is how and why. The Creator's perfect mercy is shown in the fact that all natural laws are consistent and predictable. The source does not arbitrarily change natural laws in order to punish an evildoer or to accommodate a doer of good deeds. The absolute consistency of all natural laws is the manifestation of the Creator's perfect mercy. Notice that the source's perfect mercy is its predictable consistency. Contrast that total and absolute predictability and consistency of the source with humankind's often vindictive inconsistency and unpredictability. Is it not rather interesting that many human societies have groups of people, known as lawmakers, whose permanent function it is to make new laws and change old ones with never a chance to stop? If the source made and changed natural laws as often as humankind does, what would your life be like? Imagine what would happen if, for example, the source decides this afternoon to cut gravity by 45% or increase the sun's heat by 70%. This is the one condition that brings the Creator's forgiveness. Note carefully now the one condition that will always bring you the Creator's forgiveness. By fully understanding this single condition, you will avoid many illusions and no longer waste your time on useless procedures. In revealing that one condition, the message says, the Creator forgives only after full punishment, never before. So there it is. The Creator's forgiveness comes only after you have suffered your full punishment. There is never any forgiveness before full punishment. First, you suffer your earned punishment in accordance with the universal reward accounting system. Then forgiveness follows. The Creator's forgiveness is unique. Forgiveness by the Creator is unique in two remarkable and important ways. In describing that uniqueness, the message says, 1. The Creator's forgiveness is automatic. You do not need to ask for it. 2. Once you have paid in full for your evil deed, that evil deed is marked paid in your record in the universal reward accounting system. Forgiveness is shown by the fact that you bear no stigma. Notice carefully that once your punishment is complete, the Creator's forgiveness is automatic and you do not bear any stigma. Contrast this remarkable no stigma feature with forgiveness among humankind. Forgiveness among humankind. Consider a person who breaks humankind's laws. Notice how people say, lock him or her up for a long time. People and their governments seem to hope that a long time means forever, because when the locked up person finally completes the long prison term and is released, the people and their governments seem genuinely surprised that a long time finally came to an end. So, of course, they simply continue the already completed punishment by imposing the permanent stigma named a criminal record. What does that really mean? Is humankind able to forgive? We are not talking here about the simple good deed of canceling a loan of money or goods, though it is called forgiving a loan. We are speaking here of the heavy-duty matter of forgiving an offense. You will agree that there is probably a need for us to forgive others. But can we do it? Does humankind have the ability to forgive? When the target of your evil deed says, I forgive you, can that forgiveness help you in the universal reward accounting system? What is the power of forgiveness? For a complete answer, we again go to part 1 of the message. It says, but have you ever really and truly forgiven any serious offense totally, completely, and forever, to the extent that you no longer remember the offense with a twinge of anger and a desire to punish or revenge? No? No problem. You are not alone. What this signifies is very important. It signifies that humankind has no ability to forgive an offense. This inability to forgive does not matter, though, because the message goes on to say, your forgiveness has no effect whatsoever on the offender receiving his or her full punishment, no effect on what the punishment will be, and no effect at all on how painful that punishment will be. In other words, no one needs your forgiveness because it is useless. So, as you can see, the message makes it clear that 1, humans do not have the ability to forgive an offense, and even if they do, there is no need for forgiveness because 2, forgiveness does not cancel, change, or reduce the offender's punishment in the universal reward accounting system. Apology. What happens when you offend the Creator, or you offend angels or your ancestors, or you offend other people, realize your error, are truly sorry, and apologize? We shall now examine the important subject of apology in its only 3 distinct varieties. 1. Apology to the Creator. 2. Apology to angels and your ancestors. And 3. Apology to humankind. 1. Apology to the Creator. When you offend the Creator and apologize, what happens? It is important to pay close attention to the effect of such an apology. The source is completely self-sufficient. It has no needs. This fact is difficult for humankind to fully understand because humans are very needy. But think about it for a moment. If the source of all things is weak enough to need anything, it cannot be the source of all things. But since the source is indeed the source of all things, it has no needs of any kind. Therefore, humankind cannot possibly offend the source. To even think we can do so is in itself exceedingly arrogant. When people break a natural law, they have not offended the Creator. They have simply broken an unchangeable law, and for that error, they will suffer automatic and unavoidable consequences. If you ignore gravity and race down a hill covered in ice and you slip, fall, and break a bone, you have not offended the Creator. If you choose not to honor your father and your mother, you have not offended the Creator either. You have foolishly chosen to break a natural law. You will suffer the unavoidable consequences. The message has revealed the only conclusion possible in this case. Since humankind cannot offend the source, there is never a need for any human to ask the source for forgiveness. If you break any natural law, you take your punishment, and then forgiveness follows. 2. Apology to angels and to your assigned ancestors. When you do an evil deed, realize your error, feel you have offended the angels and or your assigned ancestors, and are sorry, do you need to apologize to them? While the source has no needs whatsoever, angels and ancestors do have some needs. This is because they both have reward accounts and they both need rewards. But compared to humankind, their needs are few. Angels and ancestors do not need your apology or your respect or worship. Angels and ancestors have earned their freedom from such low-level needs. But angels and ancestors need and expect your gratitude. You should therefore thank them for delivering rewards. Not to do so are evil deeds that, of course, earn appropriate punishments in the universal reward accounting system. 3. Apology to humankind. You now know that the Creator needs no apology. You also know that angels and ancestors need no apology either. But what happens when you offend another person, realize your error, and are truly sorry? Do you need to apologize to another human being? The message of the Morning Star reveals that an apology to another human being is good and important for 2 reasons. A. An apology is a sign of your respect for the person you offended, and B. Showing respect to another person is a good deed. Humans are very needy. Therefore, when you offend another person, you should apologize. But you must apologize to the person you offended. If you fail to honor your parent by refusing his or her reasonable request, you must apologize to the parent, not to the Creator. You cannot clear your debt to Mr. A by paying Miss B the money you borrowed from Mr. A. That's not how it works. A conditional apology is an evil deed. A genuine apology must be unconditional. We often hear people say, "If you feel offended, I'm sorry. The words are regretted." That is a conditional apology, and it is an evil deed. An apology should sound like this: "I am sorry I did not return your book as I promised. I should have been more considerate. I am truly sorry. Here is the book. It is very informative, and that's why I kept it, hoping you'd forget it was I who borrowed it." That apology is unconditional. It's also a small good deed. When you ask the Creator to make you a better person, What happens? Suppose you finally realize that you have been doing a large number of evil deeds, but very few good deeds, and as a religious person, you ask your Creator to make you a better person. What will happen in that case? Hear now what the message says about such a request. Please, do not waste your time. Only you, in the exercise of your own absolute free will, can make yourself a better person because you know right from wrong. When you ask your Creator to make you a better person, you are attempting to resign your responsibility and transfer to your Creator the responsibility for your deeds. That is impossible. You cannot transfer your responsibility to your Creator. You become a better person only by doing more good deeds and by not doing evil deeds, not by attempting to transfer your responsibility or your free will to your Creator. Your ancestors begin to assess and record your every deed in your personal reward account once you are old enough to recognize the difference between good and evil. Because that is when your obligations under the first law begin. And once they begin for you as a living human, they will last as long as your present human life does. End of Chapter 2. Summary of Chapters 1 and 2. 1. Natural law requires that everyone receive rewards for good deeds and punishments for evil deeds. 2. An inflexible system known as the Universal Reward Accounting System is in place to ensure that natural law operates equally for everyone. 3. You were born with a reward account that already holds reward points, negative reward points, and punishment points. You earned those points through your deeds in your previous lives. 4. Every good thing in your life is a reward. Most, but not all, bad things in your life are punishments. 5. Rewards come only after you have earned them by doing good deeds. Punishments come only after you have earned them by doing evil deeds. Rewards and punishments always begin in this life, not later. 6. Humankind has no ability to forgive an offense. It's not useful to even try. Importantly, forgiving has no value in the Universal Reward Accounting System. 7. To receive more rewards in your life, do more good deeds and no evil deeds. That ends the basic information on the Universal Reward Accounting System. Chapter 3. Book of Anger. What is a book of anger? Part 1 of the Message of the Morning Star gives the answer. A book of anger is a private record of all offenses, real and imagined, committed against the owner of the book by family, friends, colleagues, and everyone else with whom the owner of the book comes in contact. It is an unwritten record, but it is as permanent as if it were carved in stone. It is as destructive as if it were a raging fire, and it is as painful as if it were carved into living flesh with a branding iron. As you have just seen in the quotation above, the book of anger is a permanent record of offenders and their offenses, drawn up by the book's owner and held in his or her own mind. Elsewhere, the message adds that the book of anger is an emotionally charged record. As you would expect with any emotionally charged possession, the owner of a book of anger is most unwilling to let it go. And therein, alas, lies a problem. Because as the Message of the Morning Star also informs us, drawing up and owning a book of anger is a special, personal evil deed done by its owner. Therefore, since drawing up and owning a book of anger are an evil deed, the book is a painful, heavy burden on its owner. But how is a book of anger a painful, heavy burden? The answer: because the book's point value gives it great destructive power. We shall now see from what a book of anger does how destructive that power can be. What a book of anger does. The message says also that the book of anger forces its owner to see every person from a place of revenge and retaliation based on the full listing of offenses which that person has committed against him or her, and to deal with that person only from that painful place. Continues the message. Great is the painful burden of the book of anger because it forces its owner to live life in a place of permanent pain. That heavy burden is the constant companion of the owner of any book of anger. But because under the universal reward accounting system, a book of anger is a special personal evil deed done by its owner, the burden never even touches the person or persons whose offenses are recorded in the book, whether those offenses are real or imagined. By the very nature of what the book's owner feels he or she must do, and by what those deeds cause other people to do in return, the offenses seem to the book's owner to multiply and to grow, and so does the crushing burden which they bring to him or her. The crushing burden of the book of anger. What it is. What's the crushing burden which the book of anger imposes on its owner? The crushing burden is the 4 torments that make up the heavy punishments earned by the book of anger, an evil deed. The 4 torments are: 1. Damage to your health. 2. Lack of sleep and or restless sleep. 3. Poor quality of life. And 4. Poor reward account. The 4 torments add up to a damaged inner self. A damaged inner self manifests as a ruined, unhappy, stressful life. We'll next see how each torment wreaks its specific havoc. 1. Damage to your health. There is a high emotional and physical cost to life when you must see everyone in your book of anger from a place of permanent pain. As a medical doctor, I can assure you that living a life that is so emotionally and physically costly can increase your likelihood of serious diseases such as high blood pressure, stroke, heart attack, and cancer. In other words, your book of anger will force you to ruin your own health. 2. Lack of sleep and or restless sleep. When you are burning with anger or grudge, it is hard to relax and fall asleep. Even when you manage to fall asleep, the uneasy sleep is shallow and restless. It is when you are in bed ready to relax and go to sleep that your grudge and anger against the people in your book of anger rise and boil over. That quiet time seems to be the perfect time for your book of anger to force you to stay awake and plan your revenge and retaliation. As a medical doctor, I can again assure you that published studies have clearly shown that lack of restful sleep causes drivers to have accidents on the highways, and poor sleep causes workers to make more mistakes and have more accidents in the workplace. Accidents and mistakes, whether on the highways or in the workplace, can cost money, can maim, and can be fatal. 3. Poor quality of life. A book of anger by its very nature lists only people that the book's owner knows personally. It is the rare individual who stays up nights because of anger or grudge against the first deputy assistant vice foreign minister of some remote country who had embezzled a few $1,000s from his or her government. One would be more likely to pay zero attention to such an embezzler for the simple reason that one knows neither the embezzler nor the victim, and so doesn't really care. It is much more likely that you will stay up nights burning with anger or grudge because your sister, to whom you have always been so generous, is once again spreading false rumors about you. Since your sister has hurt you so badly and so often, you are now no longer willing to deal with her from a place of sisterly love. Your reasoning is simple. How long does she expect you to be a fool? In other words, those who are listed in your book of anger are the people you know. They are the very same people whose relationship with you decides whether you are relaxed and happy or lonely, miserable, and stressed. But through no fault of your own, your inner self is now badly damaged, and so your life has become a lonely and stressful one from which you have cut your sister off. Yours is now a life in which you barely speak to your father, who would not give you the antique vase you really wanted and asked for. You no longer talk to your best friend from high school. He refused you a much-needed loan, a loan you knew he could afford. As a result of what you now reason to be all these people's bad behavior, your life has become unhappy, deformed, diminished, and very stressful. 4. Poor reward account. It is natural that you will do most of your good deeds to the people you know, people with whom you come in contact. As you now know from item 3 just above, these are the exact same people that end up in your book of anger. Since people always view those in their book of anger with a desire to get even, something the message describes as from a place of revenge and retaliation, you'll be most reluctant to do any good deeds to the people in your book. Thus, your book of anger is the greatest obstacle to your doing good deeds, because it reduces the number and importance of the good deeds you choose or are willing to do. As a result, the reward points you receive become very much fewer. In other words, the fourth torment earned by your book of anger makes your reward account very low in reward points. The effect of a reward account that's low in reward points is that your rewards become small, insignificant, few, and far between. Without significant rewards flowing into your life, life itself becomes sadder, depressing, more sorrowful, unhappier, emptier, and very stressful. How to recognize a book of anger. Experience shows that those who are new to the idea of a book of anger may find it difficult to decide whether they do indeed have such a book. If, like many, you happen to have that very common problem, the rest of this chapter will bring needed help. Ask yourself the 4 questions numbered 1 through 4 below and answer them. Your answers to the 4 questions will show if you do have a book of anger. It is that exact. Question 1. Is there a person who thinks he or she is so smart that he or she always takes advantage of you, and now you have finally decided to keep him or her out of your life? Or is there someone in your life who is so foolish that you do not deal with him or her anymore? Question 2. When someone asks, "How are you doing?" is your answer any of the 4 below or something close to any of them? A. I'm doing okay. Or B. I'll survive. Or C. I guess I'll make it. Or D. I'm hanging in there. Question 3. Do people often treat you abusively for no reason at all? Question 4. Do people you have just met, some of them almost total strangers, often fail to give you the respect you deserve? your answers and what they mean. Did you answer yes to any or any part of the 4 question groups above? If so, there is a serious problem blocking your life's true success and sense of fulfillment. There is a well-known cause for your deep-seated unhappiness, frustration, and stress. It's the ugly monster, your own book of anger. The reason is that a yes answer to any part of the 4 questions shows a life full of stress, deep-seated unhappiness, and frustration. It's a life wherein the inner self is badly damaged. Stress and deep-seated unhappiness are clear signs of a damaged inner self. They confirm that a life is too low in good deeds, a conclusion that agrees with another fact revealed by the message. And the revealed fact? That if you do a large number of good deeds, the reward points you earn will bring you a constant flow of valuable rewards. The rewards will, as a rule, include protecting you from other people's evil deeds, insulating you from stress, and guaranteeing you the kind of successful, fulfilling, low-stress life about which others can only dream. Your public image of success. Does the public see you as successful and happy? Are you spending valuable resources promoting an image of success and happiness? A public image which can be bought by anyone with enough money is nothing if it is not deep down real. It is ultimately a cruel delusion. You alone know if it is real. So, pause. Be completely true to yourself. Are you deep down successful? Is your life truly fulfilling and happy? If not, you are living with an ugly monster, your own book of anger. Good deeds bring true success. You now know that good deeds will bring you the kind of successful, fulfilling, low-stress life about which others can only dream. Does this then mean that if you do enough good deeds, you will definitely experience dramatic improvements in the results you are obtaining from life? The answer is yes. Most certainly yes. That is a proven fact. Will you then go out and do large numbers of good deeds to any and everybody? No? Is there a problem? Yes, your own book of anger. End of chapter 3. Chapter 4. If you have a book of anger. Do you have a book of anger? If so, that's quite normal, because at one time or another, everybody had one. Still, realizing that you do indeed have a book of anger may come as a shock, because like many, you may have always said, I'm not angry with anyone. I don't believe in anger. But if some people continue to take advantage of you as if you have no brains at all, it simply makes sense to leave them alone. So I leave them alone. They live their life and I live mine. Such a statement, of course, confirms without a shadow of a doubt that you have a book of anger. See question 1 on page 64. Most people will, however, agree that the statement about leaving them alone makes a great deal of sense. Nearly everyone will probably insist that the statement means that you have finally learnt, wisely, from bitter personal experience, from the expensive school of hard knocks. But there is a problem. The people who draw that popular conclusion are totally wrong. Such a conclusion is why your own life is very likely a sad story of stress, frustration, and unhappiness, which is caused and maintained by your own self. That is also why the whole world is in such a bad way today. Far from peace and prosperity, today's world is sinking into more violence, spreading chaos, and growing poverty. Fortunately for humankind, say The Message and Nostradamus, Europe's greatest prophet, peace and prosperity are around the corner. But why is it that what many consider so clearly wise is in fact very unwise? Why is it that what appears to many to be obvious wisdom is indeed very far off the mark? The answer is the reward known as clarity. As explained in Chapter 1 at page 14, clarity is the complete knowledge of a previously hidden truth about life. Without earning clarity in the needed area, by having the required reward points, it is impossible to realize that what one thinks is wise is, in fact, unwise. Now, note this. Recognizing the truth in that last sentence takes clarity. That is how it works. As you already know, a book of anger is an evil deed done by its owner, and in addition, a book of anger prevents its owner from doing good deeds. Therefore, when your own book of anger is blocking your way, clarity is a reward that is hard to earn. Since a book of anger is a painful, heavy burden on its owner, it should be easy to see why anyone who has the book would want to dismantle and discard it. But dismantling and discarding most books of anger will not happen. Why? Because the great majority of the world's population clings to its book of anger as do barnacles to a boat. Strange indeed, but that is the sad truth. Why so? What is the cause of the strange behavior? Why doesn't everyone do what makes simple, everyday sense and dismantle and discard his or her book of anger and thereby obtain the guaranteed relief? The answer to the question is lack of clarity, caused by the poor status of the book owner's reward account in the reward accounting system. Is there a cure for lack of clarity? Yes. Do more good deeds and no evil deeds. The poor status of your reward account can thus condemn you to a stressful, frustrating, and unhappy life. If so, you will never be willing to let go of your book of anger. You will refuse to give up your pain-laden burden, because the single act of getting rid of your book of anger could release you from the life of misery to which you are now so tightly bound. You will, therefore, always find an excuse not to make that healing move. You will hold on to the book, no matter what anyone says to encourage you to give it up. Know that your excuses for clinging to your book of anger appear obviously silly to those who have clarity, while the same lame excuses appear wise and cogent to you. One can see from the above that the poor status of a reward account causes a strange condition. It makes the owner of a poor reward account symbolically blind and deaf, because he or she lacks relevant clarity. So, unfortunately, if you are the owner of such a poor reward account, though you have eyes, you will not see. Though you have ears, you will not hear. You will, as a result, keep your book of anger and add more pages. By keeping your book of anger, you guarantee you will suffer still more painful punishments during the rest of your present life on earth. Because your book of anger will encourage you to do many more evil deeds, and at the same time, it will discourage your doing good deeds. Many evil deeds and few good deeds automatically ensure that the poor status of the owner's reward account will persist. Therefore, your first major step in building a rich reward account is to dismantle and discard your own book of anger. If, after studying this manual, you find yourself ready to dismantle and discard your book of anger and do at least 8 good deeds every day and no evil deeds, if you then begin to do what you now find yourself ready to do, it means you have earned a significant reward. That reward is clarity on how to build a rich reward account. In that case, congratulate yourself and thank your ancestors, because that clarity means you will now begin to experience dramatic improvements in the results you are obtaining from life. And those improvements will bring you the kind of successful, fulfilling, low-stress life about which others can only dream. End of chapter 4. You know, but who? You know that your assigned ancestors track your every deed, maintain your reward account, and deliver your rewards and punishments. But who tracks group deeds and delivers group punishments, such as hurricanes, tornadoes, droughts, earthquakes, floods, landslides, tsunamis, and famines? Angels do. Chapter 5. The Book of Anger Process. The message has revealed that dismantling and discarding one's book of anger heals one's damaged inner self. Now, before going into how you may obtain that healing, we shall look again briefly at what a book of anger is and at what it does. Then we shall see what the message named the healing act of dismantling and discarding your own book. Review: what a book of anger is. The message says that the book of anger is a permanent record of offenders and their offenses compiled by and held in the mind of the book's owner. It also says that the book of anger is an emotionally charged record. As you would expect with any emotionally charged possession, the owner of a book of anger is most reluctant to let it go. The message says, in addition, that the book of anger is an evil deed done by its owner. Review: what a book of anger does. A book of anger, which you know is an evil deed through its large point value, delivers the punishments known as the 4 torments. The 4 torments are: 1. Damage to your health by causing the kind of stress that can lead to high blood pressure, heart attack, stroke, and cancer. 2. Lack of sleep and or restless sleep due to grudge, resentment, and or anger. 3. Poor quality of life by forcing you to stop or reduce nurturing, healthy interaction with family, friends, and colleagues. And 4. Poor reward account by reducing the number and importance of your good deeds and thereby the reward points you earn. Dismantling and discarding is named. The message of the Morning Star has named the recommended way to dismantle and discard a book of anger, the Book of Anger Process. We present that recommended way in Chapter 6, which begins on the next page. End of Chapter 5. You must replace canceled reward points before relief from your punishments. Every evil deed earns negative reward points, which cancel reward points of equal value from the reward account. Therefore, every punishment, whether it is group punishment or individual punishment, includes the requirement that the evildoer replace the reward points canceled from the reward account by the negative reward points of the evil deed. If your reward account is in negative balance, relief from your punishments will not come until you replace the canceled reward points by doing good deeds. Chapter 6. How to perform the Book of Anger Process. It is estimated that 99.5% or more of the world's population is in pain. And what is more, the pain is of its own making. Why? Because that large number has damaged its own inner self. How? By compiling and maintaining a book of anger. And you? You can heal your damaged inner self by getting rid of your book of anger. Dramatic improvements in 4 hours. The message says that dismantling and discarding your book of anger is your most important good deed, and that it can bring dramatic improvements into your life in as little as 4 hours of your starting the process. It is also the only deed you do for yourself that counts as a good deed in the universal reward accounting system. In the book titled The Message of the Morning Star by the same author, Wimsa says, "We invite you at this time and on this very date to dismantle and discard your own book of anger and thereby free yourself from its burden. By doing so, you will join the happy 0.5% or less who are living the truly beautiful life. Your reward under the first law will match the importance of this good deed, and as a good deed, it is truly important." Who benefits from the book of anger process? The teacher emphasizes most strongly that the book of anger process works only for the benefit of the owner of the book. The process benefits only the person who performs it. There is no benefit in the book of anger process for the offender. It's easy to make a mistake here by thinking that the book of anger process will free the offender from some kind of bondage to the offense. Some people therefore choose not to perform the process because they do not want to release the offender. That is a very serious error. The offender will suffer his or her full punishment, no matter what you do or don't do. Again, the only person who benefits from your book of anger process is you. Therefore, do not let your anger, grudge, and vengeance stop you from releasing yourself from the heavy burden you have placed on yourself. The 5 steps of the book of anger process. The book of anger process, the healer of the damaged inner self, is a 5-step procedure. Step 1. Make a list. On a large sheet of paper, make a list of everyone who has offended you and against whom you bear any grudge. As you remember more offenders, go back to this list and write their names down. Use as many sheets as you need. This list is your book of anger in physical form. When you finish writing it, congratulate yourself. It is a very good start. Step 2. Draw up a list of offenses committed by each offender. Write the name of each offender on the top of a fresh page, 1 sheet per offender. Then list on both sides of the same sheet by number all the offenses you can remember that this person has committed against you. Again, use as many sheets as you need. Do the same for every offender in your book. This list of each offender's offenses is your expanded book of anger, again in physical form. When you complete it, congratulate yourself a second time. You are making excellent progress. Step 3. Make telephone calls or visits. Telephone each offender to speak to him or her. If you cannot reach an offender by telephone, you must visit him or her. When you speak to the offender, you must have peace in mind. Healing must be your aim. If you are still too angry or too upset to speak in friendly, peaceful tones, you are not ready. If you are not ready to work with a particular offender, try another. When you are ready to speak to an offender, this is what you will say to him or her. I'm calling, or I'm here, to speak with you so that we can restore our relationship to good health. It appears to me that for about X days or weeks or months or years, as the case may be, there's been a strain in our relationship, and I'm calling, or I'm here, to bring a healing about. New and positive influences have recently come into my life, and I really want to heal our relationship as part of the positive changes I'm making. I feel you have offended me in several ways. I now know that I may have been wrong in drawing that conclusion. I want to bring those offenses to your attention so that you can tell me your side of what really happened. I believe that once we examine the situation in this reasonable way, we can effect a healing and restore a healthy relationship. Can you talk now, or shall I call you back? Be sure to practice this opening thoroughly before you make your first call or visit to any offender. To keep this contact natural, you may use your own words, but you must maintain the same feel as in the example. With such a healing approach, you will have a ready listener. You will then, A, tell the offender what the offenses are, and next, B, give the offender an opportunity to explain what happened. You may find that when the offender explains what really happened, there was no offense at all. But if there was indeed an offense, then C, tell the offender how you feel about those offenses, and D, how you feel about him or her for offending you the way that he or she did. The offender will now know what each offense was, and that you are aware of it. He or she has probably paid the full price for the offense under the law of personal responsibility. If not, he or she must pay. Step 4. Rise to a higher emotional place. To rise to a higher emotional place, you will now say to the offender, I'm ready now to get this offense behind me and resume a healthy relationship with you. I earnestly invite you to shake hands and be friends and family again. Rising to a higher emotional place is not forgiving or forgetting. You already know that humans cannot forgive even a small offense. But if the offender apologizes, accept it. If he or she asks for your forgiveness, give it. If the offender's apology is unconditional, it is a good deed done by him or her, even if you refuse to accept it. And as you already know, your forgiveness cannot cancel, reduce, delay, or increase his or her punishment. Know also that you do not have to force yourself to forget the offense. It is unnatural to try to make yourself forget anything, including even a minor offense. You are not forgiving or forgetting in step 4. You are simply moving to a higher emotional place with regard to the offense. Your achievement here is that you were in a place of revenge, retaliation, and pain. Now you have moved up to a place of inner healing. Step 5. Do good deeds to the offender. In this step, which is the final step of the Book of Anger process, you will begin immediately to treat the person who offended you as if there had been no offense in the first place. You will now begin to treat that person as if he or she never offended you. You must also go out of your way to do good deeds to the offender now that you have released yourself from the heavy burden of your own Book of Anger. For your good deed to the offender as required here, you may choose to buy him or her a gift, such as a nice meal, a writing instrument, or a good book. That completes the 5 healing steps of the Book of Anger process. No desire to confront the offender? If you do not want to speak directly to the offender, you can still perform a successful Book of Anger process. But in that case, You must act out the conversations in step 3 and 4, and then go to step 5. Obviously, all 5 steps are required to make the book of anger process work. But there is room for some change in steps 3 and 4. The change is that you can perform those 2 steps directly, or you can act them out. If you choose to act out steps 3 and 4, this is how to proceed. You must select a room where no one will interrupt or distract you. You will sit in that room by yourself and talk to the particular offender as if he or she were sitting there with you. Your acting must be true to life. You know how the offender behaves. You know how smoothly or roughly the offender speaks. You know his or her facial expressions. You must bring all these in order to make the process true. You must be real. To receive the full healing of your inner self through the book of anger process, you must complete all 5 steps as shown. Such are the inflexible rules of the natural law. If the offender is dead. Many books of anger include the names of people who are dead, as well as the names of organizations that no longer exist. But since both people and organizations have immortal spirits, their death or dissolution does not cancel their existence. You can therefore perform the book of anger process with every offender listed in your book. In the case of dead persons and dissolved organizations, act out all 5 steps. For step 5, send a gift to the offender's last known address. Mark on the gift package, Postmaster, do not return to sender. Dramatic improvement of lives. The World Morningstar Association says that the Book of Anger process has improved lives dramatically by the thousands, and that the process will continue to do so into the millions and into the billions. Your life, the association says, can be one of them. If you have earned the reward, your life will be one of them. The process may be difficult. It is clear that what you are being encouraged to do here with your book of anger may be difficult. It may, in fact, be very difficult in many cases. So difficult, in fact, that you probably feel you should make an exception to the rule and keep parts of your book. But there can be no exceptions. You need to complete the process with every offender in your book. It is the only way to heal your damaged inner self and rescue your life from ruin. Be persistent. Be diligent. When you complete the process, the only person who receives the rich reward points is you. Begin your own process now. You know that others around you have large books of anger and sorely need the process too, perhaps even more than you do. But do not wait for them to dismantle their own books of anger first. Teach them by your own example. Be the first in your family or in your circle to do so. That is a bold and important good deed. It will bring especially large reward points into your reward account. The rewards flowing from your large reward points will enrich your life, and all the material and emotional prosperity you ever dreamed of will automatically come to you and stay with you. For your good deeds, you deserve no less. That is nature's law. End of Chapter 6. Chapter 7. How to deal with new offenses after you have completed the Book of Anger process. You have completed the Book of Anger process with every offender, so you no longer have a book of anger. You are more successful and much happier. Dramatic improvements now brighten your less stressed life. A few weeks pass. You are feeling just wonderful. Then, all of a sudden, and for what appears to be no reason at all, the loud new employee at the office suddenly offends you in a most unacceptable way. You see the offense as a very serious one. Now, what would be the right way to deal with this new offense? There are only 3 possible ways. We shall examine each one. Way number 1. Ignore the offense. You could choose to do nothing, hoping the offense will roll off your new life as water rolls off the back of a duck. But you know for certain that if you don't do anything in response, you will feel smaller than your true self. The offender may even be tempted to repeat his rudeness in the future. So you reject this way. Way number 2. Revenge and retaliate. You will therefore make your plans to lie in wait for him, and when he least expects it, you will hit him with a well-aimed blow of sweet revenge. You are smiling even now as you see him in your mind's eye wince with embarrassment at your painful blow. But by choosing revenge and retaliation, you would have started a new book of anger, which you now know is a special personal evil deed done by you, and B, the message of the Morning Star describes revenge and retaliation as the twin monsters and as evil deeds. You now know you will be punished for both, so you reject this way too. Way number 3. Take an action that will not start a new book of anger and will also not encourage the offender to repeat the offense, if you can find such action. If way number 3 exists, it will obviously be the right choice. Congratulations, it exists. Way number 3 is a modified book of anger process. It is named the New Book of Anger Exit because it gives you a successful exit from a situation that can easily start a new book of anger. The New Book of Anger Exit, also known as exit procedure, consists of 4 steps. The 4 steps of the New Book of Anger Exit. When you perform the exit procedure, you must not show any anger. Do not even raise your voice. To keep these instructions simple, we name the offender Mr. Chicory. Step 1. Set up an appointment. In step 1, you set up an appointment with Mr. Chicory for a quiet conversation. You will therefore telephone or visit him at his desk as soon as possible after his offense. Aim for an appointment within 24 hours. During your visit to Mr. Chicory, or when you have him on the telephone, you will say, "Mr. Chicory, I want to talk to you about something very important, and I'd like us to set up an appointment. It will take about 5 minutes or so. Is 2 p.m. today good, or would 3 p.m. be better?" Be sure to give him the limited choice of 2 specific times, making sure that both times are convenient to you. Some negotiation may be required before both of you can agree on a time that suits the 2 of you. Be flexible. If Mr. Chicory happens to refuse to set up an appointment for the same day or the next day, go immediately into step 2. Do not allow more than 24 hours to elapse between the offense and step 2 of the exit procedure. Step 2. Pinpoint the offense. In step 2 of the exit procedure, you pinpoint the offense by describing it. Therefore, say to Mr. Chicory, "This morning or yesterday afternoon, as the case may be, you referred to me as a whatever. That's totally unacceptable. We have just started working together in this office, and I consider it important to be cordial and professional in dealing with every staff member. I respect and appreciate you as a colleague, and I ask you very, very seriously to be careful how you speak about me. We are talking about this quietly in order to keep it a private matter between us. A question I need to ask you is this: why did you say what you said about me? Give him a chance to respond. He may choose to apologize. He may ask for forgiveness, or he may continue to be offensive. When he finishes whatever he has to say, go immediately into step 3. Step 3, rise to a higher emotional place. In step 3 of the new Book of Anger Exit, you will rise to a higher emotional place regarding the offense. You know that Mr. Chicory has already earned his full punishment if what he did was an evil deed, and he must suffer the punishment in full. You also know that humankind does not have the ability to forgive an offense. But if Mr. Chicory asks for your forgiveness, give it without hesitation. You know, of course, that it will make no difference to his punishment in the universal reward accounting system. Whatever he says, whether or not he offends you even more or apologizes, proceed thus. Fine. Mr. Chicory, I just want to bring that totally unacceptable behavior to your attention so that we can focus on it for a minute. You now know it is a serious assault, and it is never to be repeated. I'm ready to move on. Offer him a handshake to seal the understanding. Then go on to step 4. Step 4. Do good deeds to the offender. This is the final step of the new Book of Anger Exit. In step 4, you will treat the offender as if there had been no offense in the first place. It is hard, but do it anyway. It is an essential part of the exit procedure. If you treat Mr. Chicory as if he has offended you, you have a new Book of Anger, and that is an evil deed done by you. So continue to treat him as if he has never offended you, and be sure to do good deeds to him, just as you would to anyone else. End of chapter 7. Chapter 8. When is an evil deed justified? You can do an evil deed and, if you like, call it justified, but you automatically earn full punishment anyway. There is no such thing as a just evil deed. Every evil deed is unjust. You have absolute free will. The Source gave all creatures an absolute free will. You may therefore exercise your own whenever and however you please. In the process, you may do an evil deed if you choose. You must, in every case, face the consequences. You will unavoidably receive full punishment for every evil deed you do. As you now know, the law of personal responsibility, also known as the first great natural law, is the natural law that governs your absolute free will. Perhaps you no longer remember that the message says, from the automatic operation of all natural laws, no one is exempt. No one can escape. But it says so. Evaluating your own deeds. The message of the Morning Star also cautions, in evaluating your own deeds, you may be tempted to be overly lenient to yourself, but be careful. Do not deceive yourself by claiming that you do only good deeds, or else that your evil deeds are justified. Evil deeds are never justified or necessary. You may, for example, be a government official and find yourself doing an evil deed in the course of your employment. You may then claim, it's my job, or I'm just obeying orders. But you deceive yourself. Abusive employment. Understand clearly that any employment that requires you to do evil deeds is what the message calls abusive employment. Know also that you are not surgically grafted to that job. In other words, you do not have to stay in any abusive employment. Nobody does. Let the person who devised the abusive employment do the evil deeds himself or herself, if he or she must have them done. Every abusive employer deserves the negative reward points and the punishment points all by himself or herself. So be wise. Resign if it is abusive. Know that it is always a good deed to resign from an abusive employment simply because it is abusive. If you do, your earned reward points will enable you to find another wholesome employment regardless of the state of the economy in your country. Recognize that no matter who your employer may be or what your employment is, if you do any evil deed at work, the inescapable negative reward points and punishment points will go directly into your own personal reward account. Lame excuses such as "I need the job" count for nothing. Someone has to do it. The excuse that it is my job or that someone has to do it does not stand up either. Such excuses are another way of claiming that the evil deed is justified. Not so. Regarding such claims, the message says, when you make such claims, you know you are not being completely honest with yourself. Evil deeds are never justified. You may even think that you are so intelligent that no one will notice your evil deeds or recognize the evil intent behind what you do. The fact is, you cannot deceive the Creator and your ancestors. They are always watching. So why even try? Enrich your life instead by doing good deeds for which the first great natural law already guarantees your reward points. To that, there is nothing more to add. End of chapter 8. Book summary. 1. You have a reward account in the Universal Reward Accounting System. 2. Your book of anger damages your inner self. A damaged inner self results in a ruined life marked by stress, unhappiness, loneliness, frustration, and misery. 3. Dismantling and discarding your book of anger will heal your damaged inner self and enable you to restore your ruined life. This handbook teaches how. 4. Do at least 8 good deeds every day. The many reward points you earn through those good deeds will cause dramatic improvements in the results you are obtaining from life. This manual teaches how and why. 5. The message says that the most important good deed you can do is to dismantle and discard your book of anger. This handbook teaches how.